Por que você acredita?
Eu já vi muito.
Então por que está fazendo isso?
Porque eu acho que eu não vi o bastante.
So Dallas, how do you like São Paulo so far?
This is my second time in Brazil. I love Brazil. We love coming here. The people are so passionate. I get so many kisses and hugs. Just one, hugs and obrigado. It's very grateful, very emotional, passionate. I love it.
The Chosen has become a global phenomenon. So when did you first realize that, okay, this is going to be big?
When COVID happened in 2020, everyone was in their homes and we decided to make the show free for a couple of weeks, just as a goodwill gesture. So we played it on YouTube and so many people showed up, and each night we would say it's free, but if you want to contribute so that we can keep it free, you can. And so much money came in from people who wanted it to be free for everybody. And so we decided to make the show free forever. Mm-hmm. And that's when we started to see other countries loving the show and getting the show translated. And so each season when we're making it, I'm not thinking about the audience. I'm not thinking about how many people are watching. So when we finish a season and we say in America, we come up for air, or come out of the water and see, it's like, oh my goodness. So 2020, 2021 was when we started to really see growth. And then in the last year and a half, we have seen explosion. In Brazil, we were seeing support from very early on. Portuguese was one of the first languages we ever translated. And I don't know why, but it seems like the Brazilian people embraced the show early. We would have social media posts, and in the comments, we'd see Americans a lot talking from the United States, but then we'd see obrigado, 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 mm-hmm. and the Brazilian flag in the comments. And so we were thinking, oh, that's very interesting. So Brazil has been supporting The Chosen before it was even very cool.
We are very passionate,
yes.
As you can see.
Well, and I think the show brings out the emotion and the humanity and personalities of people that we normally see as paintings or statues. Here in Brazil, of course, we have the most famous statue of Jesus in history, and it's beautiful, but Jesus wasn't a statue. And I think Brazilians love the emotion and to see, even if they're not believers, to see these historical figures as human beings.
In season 5, we get to see the expansion of important or more important biblical events. Yes. So how do you balance staying true to the Bible and yet creating a TV narrative for a modern audience?
Yes. So we don't change the Bible stories, and they're famous stories and they're important stories. We don't want to change them. But the context is also important and is you can see historical context, cultural context, like the Jewish people, and then yes, some artistic imagination to bring out the humanity. And that would be a problem if it was contradicting what the Bible was saying. But we have seen that it brings to life what's happening in the Bible. It shines a spotlight on the humanity and the relationships and the emotion, which then causes people, even if they're not believers, to see these stories with even more life, even more connection.
And what are the biggest challenges for you when adapting biblical characters?
We want to make sure that we never contradict the character or the intentions of Jesus and the Gospels. So when we are doing things that aren't directly from the Bible, we always make sure it's plausible. Could this have happened? It's not a fact, but it's capital T truth. It reflects a larger truth that is reflected in the Bible. So it's challenging because we want to make sure we don't ever contradict, but it's also very fun and exciting to showcase the humanity of these people.
Nós temos problema. Jesus age completamente fora da nossa jurisdição.
What can we expect from the season? Is there an episode or a moment that you think that is going to be special for the audience?
Oh, yes. Well, there's some moments I can't talk about yet. I want you to see them.
Okay.
But I know that when they're at the Last Supper, and we normally see it like it's a painting, right? Yeah. The Last Supper, most famous painting. But these people weren't paintings. And so when we show you the Last Supper, And Jesus is saying, especially when he's saying words from Scripture, very famous words from the Last Supper in the Bible, but we're showing you the relationships. And I think when people see Jesus telling his closest friends and followers, I will not be with you much longer. Some people who have seen these scenes have been weeping already because it makes it personal that he was saying goodbye to his closest friends. And they didn't quite understand it. But it's very passionate and emotional to see Jesus sad, knowing he's going to die soon.
The first episodes of the new season will be shown in theaters here in Brazil. So how do you think of this?
This has to be seen in theaters because it's our biggest sets, our biggest stories. We use new cameras. I mean, this is our biggest season, so it's very good to see it on the big screen with the surround sound. But of course, it's all about the emotion and the connection and the intimacy. And so there's something special about watching these scenes with other people, and you're laughing together and crying together and experiencing this together. So even though it's big, it still feels small and intimate.
How was it for you to shoot season 5?
Season 5 is in Jerusalem, and it's the biggest stories we've ever told. We had wider screen cameras, so you see more in the frame, and everything is just bigger this season. And so we know Brazilians will like that because they like things big and expressive.
So do you think The Chosen is going to be very much emotional from this point on?
Oh, very emotional because we've been spending so much time with these people, and now we're watching them experience the hardest thing in their whole life. So we feel a connection to them. And so I think it's going to be our most emotional season by far.
Can you tell us something about the next seasons?
Oh yeah, so right now, while season 5 is coming out around the world, I am about to film season 6, and we are writing season 7. Season 7 is the last season. So it's a lot going on all at the same time. So I love bringing season 5 to the world, but I also have to work. So the work never stops.
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
Serpentes! Como vão escapar da condenação ao inferno? Ah!
O que você fez?
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.